my view on this. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Don't cancel me. Whatever.
He means my view on this.
Wait, what's that?
He means my view on this. That's what he meant.
Yeah. So Andrew,
He's not scared to get canceled.
Speaking as if Andrew was passing through me. What the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Not like in a weird sort of way, but I had his spirit inside me. I'm channeling Andrew's deeply toxic and, deeply. Okay, fuck, just say it, Brian. Jesus. Okay. I think it would not be straight for a male, I'll say a man, to date or have carnal knowledge of a trans woman. That's not straight, and it never can be.
That's your opinion.
It certainly is it certainly is Andrew's opinion, but
I understand.
I think you're entitled to that opinion. Do you object to this categorization? Because
It's a good question. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly just think you're entitled to your opinion there. I don't like.
Well, what's your opinion?
Me personally,
yeah. Could it be straight for a man to date a trans woman? You can still be straight. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Going around the table on this.
I'm probably the only one that thinks that.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that they necessarily. I don't know. I think it's so to each their own for that, to be honest, because it.
Well, this would be objective, I think.
I'm thinking that if. I don't know. I've met some trans women that are fully transitioned, and what does that no idea that they were trans.
But what does that mean when you say fully transitioned?
Bottom and top, all surgeries done.
So they're fully what?
Fully a woman.
They're fully a woman.
Now they are fully a woman.
They're fully a woman.
They have all the woman things you'd want on a woman, and none of the male things that would be identifying as a male. At that point,
do you think that I can be, as a man, do you think that I can be tricked into believing that I'm not trying to say this to be insensitive, but if you've surgically removed your peen and you've put what is essentially, I think my understanding, it's an open wound basically, that's not pussy. That's not a vagina.
Yeah, then I'd say that's your opinion.
It's not my opinion, it's fact.
What?
Well, I think.
Wait. How is it his opinion?
Well, because it might not be just a born biological vagina, but a lot of people would still consider having that anatomy down there being having a vagina. So if you're able to kind of correct that medically, a lot of people would still consider now you have a vagina.
No, you
have. There's so much more to being a woman, though. Than just
I'm just talking about the genitals now.
Get that. I'll engage you strictly on the genital conversation.
Yeah.
That's not pussy.
But it looks like pussy.
It doesn't look like.
I don't know. I haven't examined.
I don't know. But to be honest, I just had watched this short documentary. I don't remember who it was by. But just because I was intrigued and I wanted to have a little bit more accurate information since I genuinely didn't know that much about this topic. And it was just from the medical side and literally how they do it, how they change it from what you had before to what you're wanting. Literally just the surgery process of it and how it works and why it works and why the nerve connections now, trans people after those surgeries, they can climax in the...
Don't care.
Yes.
Don't care. That is a vagina. That's not a vagina.
You're allowed to.
Yeah.
And hang on. When they do,
it's not. No.
Hang on. When those,
it's not my opinion.
When those trans people do climax.
Truth Bomb donated $100. Crazy this is even in question. You cannot be something you're not. Men are men. Woman are woman. Just like a white man can't become a black man.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly true. But to this, when those trans people do climax, if they are a M to F, is it going to be sperm or is it going to be ova?
Yeah, it's not gonna. I mean, it's not gonna be sperm. I'm not saying it's exactly the same
Yes,
thing.
it's going to be sperm.
From.
From M to F, that's
If,
correct. What else could they ejaculate?
I'm sorry, I
other
heard
than
the other way
sperm?
around. My bad.
Yeah, what else could they ejaculate other than sperm?
I don't think they really ejaculated that after the.
Justadu donated $100. It isn't straight. In fact, there's no way for it to be straight. You are still genetically a man, period, end of story. We are not God.
I mean, I think this is all,
Wait, you no,
I'm
go
sorry?
ahead, go ahead.
I think this is all like very subjective, and I just think like they
No,
they
it's
matter.
subjective. It's
I
not
mean,
subjective.
I
What
think-
does homosexual mean? Homo meaning same, sexual meaning sex. Unless you're claiming that they're a different sex because they've had genital mutilation, I would like to actually hear the rationale for
Yeah,
how
but
this is not
that,
objective.
see, that's a claim that can be made. You can like disagree with that, but there are people that firmly believe that. That's why I feel this question
Yeah,
is
so
so
people can
subjective.
firmly believe things that aren't true, right?
There's a lot of species that switch sexes, and then they're
Yeah, not
genuinely
ours.
considered.
Our species
Wait,
is not one of those
what?
species that can switch
Yeah,
sexes.
it's actually
Unless
I
are
mean,
you
there a lot of
claiming
species
that
Wait, what do you mean?
that humans can switch their sex?
No.
Well, I mean, medically now.
Medically, yes, we now
No,
have a
that's
way to do
no.
it.
Medically,
No.
we cannot switch
You
our
can't
sex.
switch
It's not
your
Not
possible.
your sex, your gender.
Right,
not
but
your expression.
I gotta get
I
up.
don't know the right
Continue,
word.
Andrew.
I don't want to say it.
Okay,
the right
so
word.
let's break this down. Gender is a social construction. Sex is a biological certainty.
Okay.
Correct? Gender is a social construction,
biology
meaning how
versus
we
society.
perceive a male or a female as being as far as behavioral characteristics go. We can say that's socially constructed, right? Based on culture, based on things like this. However, sex and sex characteristics themselves, those are not socially constructed. Those are biological realities, meaning if you were in a coma and you were the last person on earth who existed, your sex would still be what your sex was.
I mean, but they get their like IDs changed and everything, and like.
Oh. You can get your ID changed right now to doctor. Does that make you a doctor? You could
Why
change your
would they-
name to
oh.
Doctor such and such. Does that mean you're a doctor now?
No, but I'm saying like if in the scenario you just said, like technically wouldn't they be looked at as like a woman on their or man or whatever they have identified as and gone through like the procedures to become like on their deathbed? Wouldn't like the doctors still like perceive them as that?
No.
If they're dead?
No. Here, let me give you an example of how
I think-
untrue this actually is. Here, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Let's assume for a second that there was a virus that only affected males and not ever females. If somebody had transitioned from a male to a female, would that virus still affect them?
Biologically, I guess it would be capable of affecting them in theory in this like extreme hypothetical.
No, it's not an extreme hypothetical. There
I've never
are some
heard of-
viruses which
Really?
only affect different sexes. I don't know if you're
That's-
aware of that,
I
but
wasn't.
but the question becomes, if that is true and it would still affect them, then you have just determined that their sex has not been changed.
I think this is subjective.
I have a question
How
for
can
you.
it be subjective if you just gave an
Truth
objective
Bomb
metric?
donated $100. Using the animal reference is stupid. Animals do things that people should never do. Rodents eat their young. Male dogs will hump other male dogs. Just because animals do doesn't make it okay.
We are animals.
People do things animals wouldn't and shouldn't do, like pollute the earth and whatever other reference I can think of. I feel like that's like an invalid argument.
Why would that be an invalid argument? Obviously, we can transcend what lower animals do, and I know this because we eat them and seem to think it's okay, and we don't eat people and seem to think that's not okay.
There's a lot of cannibals.
I think we have a lot of like issues.
Do you
in
think we should
society.
eat people?
No.
No, clearly you hold people in a different regard than other animals then, don't you?
Well, I mean, no and yes. I mean, I was vegan for years, but I'm not currently, so I'm not going to say your claim is like completely.
Yeah, that claim went out the
wrong.
window the second you had that nice
But
tri-tip
I
steak, didn't it?
I do think that we as a society are corrupted in many ways and could do better. Like if being vegan was more easily accessible, everyone could do it, and we could be ethical and not eat animals, but it's not an easy thing to do either.
Don't you make tons of money on OnlyFans?
I lived in Guam for
Yeah,
4
so I
months.
mean, you
My
could be a
point is I
vegan if
could-
you wanted to
in
be.
Guam, they don't have like tofu. Like you can.
Yeah,
go
okay,
there
but
and
they
check.
have vegetables in Guam.
I guess.
Yeah,
But
so
then,
you're
like,
not a
protein.
vegan because you like to eat meat. So
I-
clearly you think that eating animals, consuming their flesh after they're killed is absolutely fine. If you think that that's
No,
true,
I don't think
clearly
it's
you
fine.
hold people in a different regard than animals.
I think we like that's why people identify themselves as sinners, because we all do things that are bad, and I think that is bad actually. Like, no, I don't think it's fine. I
You think it's
socially,
bad, but you do
I
it
think
anyway,
it's
huh?
socially normal, but I don't think it's like good.
Then why do you do it?
I don't know. I'll stop now. But I don't agree with it.
You're
so-
going to stop eating meat?
Yeah, I
Really?
already did for years.
And now suddenly you're going to start again because you suddenly had the realization that it's immoral to
Well,
eat
I
meat?
acknowledged it was
After a
immoral.
30-second
It's
conversation
an
with
immoral
me?
thing that I've turned a blind eye to, but I shouldn't. You're right. We shouldn't turn a blind eye to that. It is immoral.
It's immoral to eat meat.
I think so.
Okay, so you're never going to eat meat again.
You're right.
And do you consider eating meat to be on par with human cannibalism?
I don't know about that.
Well, if the answer is no, and you don't, then you must hold animals in a different regard than you hold humans. So just saying that we're
That's
animals would still
reasonable.
make no sense.
I agree with the fact that I hold animals, and we as a society, and not just myself, but yes, including me, hold animals in a different regard than.
Right.
Other
So
people.
if you do, then just saying that we're animals would be a silly argument,
But
right?
we
Because you
are.
clearly believe that there's something distinctive between us and animals, or you wouldn't eat
I
their
think any other
flesh, right?
I think any other animal would favor its brethren and its species over us.
No,
and
they don't
other
give a
species.
shit. Animals eat each other all the
don't know
time,
that.
including within their own species.
Not every animal.
I didn't say every animal,
Okay.
but many of them do. And
think there
almost
are
all the
ethical
carnivores
animals.
will eat their dead. We don't eat our dead.
Truth Bomb donated $100. At the end of the day, when human remains are discovered, they can be identified by bone structure. They don't look at male bones and say, I wonder if this person identified as a female. This is crazy.
I'm not arguing with biology. I'm just saying everyone matters. Like everyone, poly people matter. Any other sexuality that's escaping my mind at the moment, trans lives matter. Everyone matters. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's an empty platitude, though.
And that's how
you
I
believe,
feel. If
you
it's
believe
so empty,
all
then
lives
I'll stay
matter,
empty.
right?
What?
You believe all lives matter, right?
I believe everybody matters. I don't believe in the term all lives matter.
Yeah, but you do because you think everybody matters. What all and everybody? What's the distinction between those two words?
The
all people
abuse of
versus
that
every
term-
person.
The abuse of that term in recent years. And,
So you're giving it a
being
political
utilized-
connotation.
The negative I don't care to even remotely affiliate with the negative connotation surrounding the term that has been
Okay,
established.
let's forget the political connotation for a
Well,
second.
I'm keeping
when you
those in
say
regard.
when you say all, meaning everyone, everybody matters.
Everybody
that would
matters.
necessarily be inclusive of trans people and everybody else, right?
Everybody matters.
Right. So then the only reason that you're making these special distinctions and categories is it's a
Because
virtue
society
signal,
does.
correct?
Is because what? I'm sorry?
It's a virtue signal.
Virtues? I don't understand what you mean by that.
It's you saying that I hold this category in this regard as being special in some way, which is
I
why I'm
think-
singling it out.
I think newer categories, like trans was kept in the dark for longer, so it does need to be mentioned. It's more modern. Certain categories need to be mentioned more because they're more modern. Women's rights as well, because women didn't have the same rights just within the past
So
century.
you're virtue signaling. You think it's maximum virtue in order to identify these groups which you consider to be oppressed and then give them some
Okay.
type of special shout out. That is literally the definition of virtue signaling.
Fair enough. Then I do
Yeah,
that.
so-
if that's
So,
what that
so you're
is.
virtue signaling. So that's meaningless to me. Virtue signaling is meaningless to me. I'm just
That's all
sticking
I'm
with
doing
what
then,
the
though.
facts of the matter are.
Okay, but the facts of the matter are that's what I'm doing, that's how I feel, and I
Yeah, that's
feel
your
that those
virtue signal.
virtues matter.
Yeah, it's a huge virtue signal. So back to the question
Say
at
so.
hand as to whether or not trans individuals, if you engage a M2F transitioner to them having sex with a fellow male, can you explain how that's not homosexual sex?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna need you to repeat that, because something like semi-interesting.
If two men have sex, how are they not homosexuals?
By their own boundaries and definition, I'm guessing in that
I see.
circumstance.
So let's
I'm
assume
not a
for a
man,
second-
so I can't put myself.
Got
in
it.
that
So let's
perspective.
assume for a second then that if it's based on self-ID, if two men are engaged in a sex act and one of them decides to change their gender in the middle of having sex, is it now a heterosexual sex act?
That's so
Meaning, let's assume one of
unrealistic.
them says I'm a woman, one says I'm a man. They're both males, but in the middle of them having sex, one says, you know what, I'm a man again. Are they homosexuals then?
If you say so.
No, I'm asking you.
It's so unrealistic that I can't.
Why would that be
answer it.
unrealistic? You could just self-ID. That's what you're saying. As long as you self-ID as being this thing and your boundaries support this thing, then a person in the middle of having sex with another person, the other person could say, well, now my gender is this, and that would make them a homosexual.
I mean, I don't know. I think just people's boundaries matter, and like how they identify like their cards should be laid on the table beforehand. They should be transparency and boundaries matter. That's where I'm getting at. That's all it comes down to. Transparency and
Yeah, but
boundaries matter.
this doesn't
I
answer
think
to
if
the question
someone
of
was
could.
to, I think if someone was to say something mid-sex of that regard, it would matter what their intention is and what their relationship is. I think, like, the way you're describing it sounds like it's of malicious intent, in which case I would think that that's like malicious.
No, there's no malicious intent. They
Then
just
I
got
mean,
a feeling.
as long as they're aware, like maybe like they switch gender. Like I hear like BDSM people switch. Maybe like they're aware in advance that their partner switches gender. I'm not like familiar with that. I haven't met anyone that like identifies as that or does that. But like if they're aware of that with each other and two consenting adults, then I don't think it matters.
Big Sass
Okay.
Energy donated $100. It's only gay if you continue pumping.
And in the middle of them having sex, can one of them change their race?
No, but that's definitely not the same.
Why not?
Race
Why
and-
can't they? All
race
they
and
have to do is
gender
decide they're a
identity are
different
not the
race, right?
same. Race and gender identity are not the same.
Oh, wait. Now it's gender identity, not a biological reality. So if it's
I
just
never
a
said it was
gender
a
identity, then can
I
you
never
explain
said it was
why?
a biological reality. We've like already established it's like
If
you
it's a biological reality and it's two people of the same sex having sex, how is it not homosexual sex then? Homo meaning same, sex meaning, sex.
I think there's
Lawyered.
a lot of identities. And
Checkmate.
I don't agree, but I just think there's a lot of different ways people nowadays identify and have their own sexuality and
Okay.
are not in
They identify as being
conformity.
black and then they identify as being white. Why are they wrong?
Going from gender to race, it's not the same.
They're both
You're not
social
making-
constructions, correct? Or is race
Sexual
also a biological reality?
constructions? Social. Okay. All right.
Oh, it is a social construction. So they can change their race in the middle of having sex then, right?
No, but is it a social construction? Isn't it?
I'm asking you, is it a social construction or a biological reality?
I don't know, but I
don't
know
know?
they're not the same.
Right, okay.
I know that
so-
you can do a 23andMe and see like your race and background that's in your blood.
So
and
then,
it's-
if it's a biological reality, if race is a biological reality and you can't change that in the middle of sex, and your sex is a biological reality which you can't change in the middle of sex, then it would have to be homosexual sex. There couldn't be anything else it could be.
I feel like people
Lawyered.
can identify as whatever they'd like, and people move
Except black to white?
People move no, because those are
Those are biological realities. Can't change those, right?
They're not just biological realities. They're like
Light that ciggy up, Andrew.
oh my god.
Hey, but Nick,
What
put it
the-
back.
I know.
Bro,
Oh, okay.
you missed the ciggy light. Oh my God, Nick. Rude. Nicholas Gertrude Guantanamo. If Andrew is ever lighting a cigarette, you never switch away. Never. Okay.